Okay, so today we're going to do a continuation of what we learned the other day, which was how to take fractional exponents and rewrite them and simplify. So I'm just going to go over a couple examples that are just like the ones from last time, and then we're going to go over a couple new kind. So first of all, remember that when you have a fraction for an exponent, how you rewrite it is the denominator is the root that we're finding. So this would be cube root of 216. Okay, so then you would just put it in your calculator. So on your calculator, you're doing, you need to put the root first. So 3 is my root. Then you're hitting second, this button, and then 216. So that's the cubed root of 216, which basically just means what times itself 3 times is 216, and it's 6. So this answer would be 6. Okay, then sometimes, so that's what happens when you have a 1 in the numerator. Sometimes you have a number in the numerator that's not 1, something bigger than 1. This denominator still determines your root, so this is going to be the 4th root of 16. And then the numerator then takes that answer and raises it to that power. So this is going to be the 4th root of 16 raised to the 3rd power. I'll show you this one on my phone calculator. Okay, so for the phone calculator, you do it kind of like backwards. So you do 16 first, then you hit this button here, the y root x, and then you hit, which one was this, 4? Then you hit 4, whatever root you're taking. So we're taking the 4th root. So then you would hit 4 and then equals. So it's 2. So the 4th root of 16 is 2. So that's going to be 2 to the 3rd, which is really 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So that's what we did last class. Now today, I'm going to show you what happens when there are negatives in some parts. So the first thing we're going to talk about is when the base is negative. Remember, the base is the number that you're raising to the power. So you basically still rewrite it as normal. You can only take a root of a negative number as long as it's an odd root, like the 3rd root of a negative number, the 5th root of a negative number, the 7th root, etc. Like you can't take the square root of a negative number, right? And we've learned that before. That's where we started to learn about I, the imaginary number, because remember, like an even number, like say I had, just to show you an example, -2 times -2 gives you a positive 4. So I would never have a negative number here if I had an even number of numbers. I hate to say that, an even number of numbers that I'm multiplying. So if I had an odd number of -2's, that's when I get -8. So that means that I could take the cubed root of a -8 and get -2, let's say, for example. Okay, or even the 5th root of a negative number, or the 7th root, etc. So I'll show you in the examples. Okay, so first, you're still just going to rewrite it as normal. So this denominator is my root. So it's the 3rd root of -8. And you still just plug this right in the calculator, and it'll show you what the answer is. So this is really, we're asking ourselves, what times itself 3 times is -8? So it's cubed root, then I hit second, the root button, and then put in -8. So see how it's -2? So this answer is -2. And that's, again, because -2 times -2 times -2 equals -8. So you still do it the same way, just your answer most of the time is negative. Okay, let's do example 2. So this is -125 to the 1/3 power, which is really just finding the cubed root of -125. So the 3 is still your root, and then it's -125 like that. Now, the only thing is putting this in your phone calculator is a little trickier. I don't think there's there is a negative button. Never mind. I didn't think there was a negative button on the calculator, but I just found it. So you would put in -125, and then we want the root button, and then 3. See, it's -5. All right, perfect. So it works on the phone calculator too. Okay, and then finally, so that when I said most of the time your answer is going to be negative, when there's a 1 in the top, your answer will be negative. But something like this, it might not always be a negative. So this one is negative 1024 to the 2/5 power. So again, the 5 is your root. So it's the 5th root of negative 1024. And then we're going to raise that to the 2nd power. So first, let's find this part. Let's find the 5th root of negative 1024. So that's 4. So now 4 squared. So that's going to be 16. So what happens if the exponent is negative? Now on the practice from the other day, number 12 had a negative exponent, and I typed in some directions to kind of help you with it. I knew we were going to be doing it today anyway, so I figured you could give it a try. A lot of you did get it right, so that's good, but some of you just messed up one little thing. So I don't know if you guys remember earlier in the year when we learned about negative exponents. We learned that a negative exponent just means like that it goes into the denominator and it becomes positive. Like let's just say, for example, I had x to the negative 2. Remember, that just goes down to the bottom and you have 1 over x squared. It becomes positive. So that's pretty much what we do here is we just move it to the bottom and then simplify as normal. So if we have 27 to the negative 1/3, I'm first just going to rewrite it with a positive exponent. And so it moves into the denominator. Whoops, that's supposed to be a 3. It moves into the denominator and then the exponent becomes positive when it moves to the denominator. Once it's down there, now we just simplify as normal, and we just have to remember that that 1 remains in the numerator. So this would turn into 1 over the cubed root of 27. The cubed root of 27 is 3, so this is just going to be 1 over 3. The mistake that a lot of you made on the homework from the other day was, say for this one, you just like called it a 3, just a regular 3. This is 1 over 3. Because of that negative exponent, it's in the denominator now. Okay, so that's example 4. Let's look at another one. 243 to the negative 1/5. So again, I'm going to first rewrite it with 243 to the 1/5 in the denominator with a positive exponent. And so now I'm going to do the 5th root of 243, but again, it's in the denominator. Like that. And so then you just plug it into the calculator. The 5th root of 243 is 3. So this one is actually also 1/3. That is just a coincidence. That's not going to always happen. Okay, so those are when the exponent just had a 1 on the top. You get your root and then you're done. Something like number 6 is a little different because there's a 3 on the top, but you still pretty much just do it the same way. You bring it to the bottom, make it positive. So this is going to be 1 over 25 to the 3/2 power. So let's think about what that turns into. The denominator, remember, is still your root. So this is going to be 1 over the square root, which you don't really have to put the 2 if it's a square root, but that's okay. The square root of 25, but then this 3 means that this is going to be raised to the 3rd power. Okay, so we have 1 over the square root of 25 is 5, and then 5 to the 3rd power is 125, so it's 1 over 125 would be your answer. Just remember that that 1 stays in the top. So again, to do these, you move it to the denominator and then write it out like we did last time. And then just keep the 1 in the top. All right, so the practice for today on IXL is a combination of what we did today and what we did last time. It starts off easy with what we did last time, and then it gets into the negative ones. All right, let me know if you have questions or stop by our help session at 11 o'clock. Have a great day.